In the winter of 1944, a Nazi blockade cut off food supplies to the Western Netherlands, beginning the Dutch hunger winter. Thousands of pregnant women survived on daily rations of fewer than 1,000 calories, eating little more than bread and tulip bulbs. When these women gave birth to the babies who had been in their first trimester during the height of the famine, doctors found a medical anomaly. These infants arrived with completely normal birth weights. 60 years later, researchers followed up with this cohort. Despite appearing healthy at birth, these individuals suffered from abnormally high rates of obesity and cardiovascular disease as they reached their 50s and 60s. This finding helped form the developmental origins of health and disease, or DOHaD hypothesis. It identifies the 9 months of pregnancy as a critical biological programming window where a human's lifelong health trajectory is calibrated. Skeptical, the sequence of their DNA remained unchanged by the famine. This leaves a massive biological question. How could a temporary period of starvation, half a century earlier, permanently rewrite an adult's risk for chronic disease? At the microscopic level, a developing fetus scans for signals from the mother's body to forecast the world it will soon inhabit. It prepares for its future environment by adjusting its own biological settings. This adjustment relies on an epigenetic mechanism called DNA methylation. Environmental signals cause molecular tags to attach to the fetal DNA, effectively turning specific genes up or down without changing the underlying genetic code. In the hunger winter fetuses, the signal of starvation caused these tags to turn down the activity of the IGF-2 gene. This programmed their metabolisms to hoard calories, an adaptation designed for a world of scarcity that became a liability in a world of post-war plenty. Today, this same programming window is responding to the opposite extreme, overnutrition. Instead of famine, many fetuses now encounter maternal obesity, gestational diabetes, and diets heavy in highly processed foods. This diagram shows how modern nutritional habits create a direct pipeline of excess sugar and inflammatory signals to the womb. This environment programs a maladaptive metabolic baseline, predisposing the child to insulin resistance from the very beginning. Extreme nutritional environments, whether starvation or sugar excess, permanently miscalibrate the child's lifelong metabolic engine. Beyond physical nutrition, a mother's psychological state sends signals that alter fetal development. Mental stress physically reaches the fetus through a specific chemical dialogue. The HPA axis, the system connecting the brain to the adrenal glands, translates anxiety into the stress hormone cortisol. Elevated levels of maternal cortisol cross the placental barrier, flooding the fetal circulatory system with signals of threat. This chemical exposure results in reduced fetal movement and altered heart rate variability. It also physically reshapes the developing amygdala and hippocampus, the brain regions responsible for regulating emotions and memory. These structural changes correlate with measurable cognitive and motor delays throughout the infant's first 12 months of life. High levels of maternal stress act as a tangible chemical signal that dictates the actual physical architecture of the child's brain. Pregnancy serves as a critical window of physiological calibration. It sets a human being's lifelong baseline for processing stress, storing fat, and managing blood sugar. These epigenetic marks can even reach the fetal germline, the cells that will one day become the mother's own grandchildren. A pregnant mother's environment writes biological code for her child, while simultaneously influencing the health trajectory of her future grandchildren. Understanding this biological programming shifts the focus away from individual maternal blame and toward a societal responsibility to provide systemic support. Providing robust prenatal care, effective stress reduction, and accessible nutrition is the most effective preventative healthcare strategy available to rewrite the future of human health.